What's up, boys? It's Dual Factory once again, and in today's video we're going to have a deck profile for you, and as you can see it's going to be a Salamangreat deck profile. This deck was recently just released in the Soulburner structure decks that we just got received a couple weeks ago. I've been testing this with my buddy Aldo, and this is a list that we've kind of come up with together. His is a little different, but we go off different schedules and stuff like that, so we don't always have time to collaborate. But we'll go ahead and get straight into the deck profile. Also note that this profile will not only be on my channel, but also be on my buddy's channel. I'll leave a link in the description below. Go ahead and go check him out. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff together now, but enough about that. Let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So to start off with the main deck, you see we'll have 3 copies of Gazelle. This is arguably the best Salamangreat in your main deck. How it works is whenever a Salamangreat is sent to the graveyard, it doesn't matter how it goes, so it can be detached, discarded, destroyed, whatever. You special summon it from your hand. Whenever it's normal or special summoned, it sends a Salamangreat monster from your deck, or not monster, any card from deck to graveyard. So a lot of your combos are centered around Gazelle. The second card we play is Salamangreat Spinny. His effect is whenever he's in the graveyard and you control a Salamangreat monster other than Salamangreat Spinny, you can special summon himself. And he also has an in-hand effect where you can discard and target a Salamangreat monster on the field and increase its attack by 500. That effect isn't as relevant as you think, but it does come up, so that way you can get your combo starting. The cool thing with these cards is level 3, and you have your own archetype-specific MX Saber Invoker. So there's a lot of plays that revolve around these two because they're level 3. And then the other 3 of that we play is Salamangreat Foxy. Think of him as a pot of duality for the deck. Whenever he's normal summoned, you can reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you reveal a Salamangreat card, you can add it to your hand. Note that effect is optional, so you don't have to add one to your hand. Well, that's just something to keep in mind. And then he also has an effect where you can pop a card, you can special summon a pop card on the field, and there's a lot of combos that revolve around Salamangreat Foxy. But that's it for those. And then for the one-ofs, we play 3. We play Jack Jaguar, Falco, and Fowl. So, Fowl in itself is just a free special summon, which activates your Night Wolf, which is the most important extra deck monster that you have access to. Jack Jaguar lets you recycle your extra deck monsters, such as your Sunlight Wolf, your Banelings, etc., etc., and it also allows you to trigger your Night Wolf. And then Falco is another way to set your summon spells and traps, which is the way you also combo in your deck by sending Roar, Rage, or Circle off of Gazelle, and you can reset them with the specific cards. And a lot of the combos that you end up doing, you end on at least a Link, XYZ, and 2 to 3 set back row because of these cards. So that's it for the main deck Salamangreat monsters. For the supporting cast, we have 3 copies of Lady Debug. For those of you who don't know, she came out of a starter deck, and I can't remember it off the top of my head right now, but Lady Debug is essentially a Stratos for all your Salamangreats. All it does is search as a level 3 Cyberse monster. A lot of your there's actually 1 card OTK with Lady Debug that involves Transcode Docker and Update Jammer, which we can show you a combo video later on to give you kind of ideas of how this deck works. But if you have 3 Stratos, I'm a firm believer that you should play it. And then for the other supporting monster, we play 2 copies of Psych Wheeler. Its effect's very simple. If you control a level 3 monster, you can special summon out of your hand, and that's a hard once per turn. One of the cool things about him is he is a tuner, so it does give the ability to play cards like Brainiac, which is really good in the Thunder matchup. Also, even if you're not playing it, one of the cool things is it is a tuner, so it forces your opponent to respect that you have the option to make that play. So they play differently when they see cards like this in your deck. I do want to make room for Emergency Teleport, but I'm not playing it currently. But he's just a really good extender for your archetype. And then one of my favorite parts about this deck is you can play a lot of hand traps because your main deck engine isn't as big as other decks. So we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. One thing to note, her being a fire attribute is really important because a lot of the effects in your deck from your Salamangreats lock in some fire monster effects for the rest of the turn. So if you need to be able to activate a hand trap during your turn, this card fits the bill perfectly. Another card that we're playing is 3 copies of Effect Veiler. This has always been one of my favorite hand traps, but it hasn't been really good until recently. It hits a lot of cards, so you can hit cards such as Phantom Skyblasters. You can't make 1-card Saryujas. You can hit the Guard Dragons, which is really good. It negates their effects, unfortunately, so they can go into things other than dragon monsters, but they're not summoning anything out of their deck, and they're not being able to combo when you do that, so that's really important to keep in mind. It's also not a hard once per turn, which a lot of hand traps now are, so keep that in mind. And that's it for your main deck monsters. On to the spells. We play 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle. It's an archetype-specific Rhoda, and it protects your Link monsters. And one of the cool things is it's a quick play spell, so it has neat interactions with Droll and Lockbird that you can chain it to, so that way you can still get your search off. And then for the one-ofs, I play 1 Sanctuary, you search this off Balinks, and 1 Will of the Salamangreat. It's a really solid extender, and it's sort of a soul charge. In a sense, you can target a link monster on the field and send it to the graveyard, and then you can special summon Salamangreats from your graveyard, equal to the number of equal to the link rating of the monster that you targeted. So that actually comes up, especially in like your late game when you're running out of resources, but you just play this and put you right back in the game. And then the 1-of spell, Foolish Burial, it triggers your Gazelle. It also sets up your Spinny, and that's the most important interaction it has in the deck. And then for power spells, other than that, we have 3 copies of Pot of Desires. This is kind of different, some of the list, but one of the things is you activate this after you've done your combo, because once you've set up your field, you honestly just want to draw hand traps for more interactions with your opponent. So that's why we're playing it, and you want to open it. That's why we're playing 3. And then to ensure your plays go through, we play Called by the Grave. Well-timed hand traps hurts this deck a lot, so I feel like it's necessary to be able to stop those, and this card just fits the bill perfectly. And then we also play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is a non-monster hand trap, and I think it's important to play because this can't be stalled by Called by the Grave, and also stop floodgate monsters such as Colossus, because Thunder Dragon's easily your hardest matchup because you do so much searching, and it's really hard to deal with Colossus. So you have to be able to play through those, and this lets you do that. And then for the 1-of traps, 1 Rage and 1 Roar. Roar is a Infernity Barrier for your archetype, which it can reset itself, but it vanishes when it leaves the field, so you kind of want to be careful using that effect. And Rage is essentially, it can be a Raigeki Break, or it can be a Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss, depending on how your field is. But they're searchable, they're blowout cards, and you can reuse them every single turn, so you only want to play 1 of each. And that is the main deck. As always, is 40. Onto your extra deck. We play 2 copies of Salamangreat Balinks. It's a link 1 that can be made with Lady Debug. That's really important to note. When it's link summoned, you can add 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary. It also has an engrave effect that you can banish it to protect your Salamangreat monsters from being destroyed by battle or card effect, and that effect actually really goes up. We've seen a lot of people playing 3, but as of right now, we're playing 2 copies. Because whenever we're doing combos and stuff like that, we usually only go through 2, and then we never see it for the rest of the game. The only time 3 comes up is when you open like your 1-of Salamangreats, but it doesn't come up often enough to warrant playing 3. Our next link monster is Sunlight Wolf. This is the best one. So whenever a monster is summoned to a link zone that this card points to, you can add back 1 fire monster from your graveyard. So this is how you recycle your Gazelles and whatnot. And then it also has the additional effect that is when you use it as a link material with its same name, you can add 1 of the spell or traps from your graveyard back to your hand. So this is how you add your Roar back to hand, add your Rage back to hand. And it's a solid 3 of. You want to make it every single turn. You want to be recycling your cards. You want to be bidding your Gazelles, all that fun stuff. And then the next link monster we play is 2 copies of Heatleo. The only time you're making this is when you're wanting to push for game. And to be perfectly honest, me and my buddy have been talking about, we might honestly cut the card or maybe just only play 1 copy, but we're not 100% sure yet. But when you link summon it, it can spin a spell or trap card on the field. Note, it can't spin field spells. I see a lot of people trying to do that. And then when you use its name, you can target 1 monster in the graveyard and 1 monster on the field, and then their attacks become the same. So that's how you get over big monsters. And then we also play 2 copies of your Mirage Stalio. This was the MX Saber Invoker that I was talking about earlier, but it's only for Salamangreats. Note, when you activate its effect, you can only activate fire monster effects for the rest of the turn. Also, when you use it for a link summon, you can spin any card on your opponent's side of the field, and that's actually a really big effect. It's sort of the way you clear board. And then for the non-Salamangreat cards, we're playing Dweller. This is the best generic rank 4 in my mind right now, so that's why we're playing it. 1 Nightmare Phoenix. It's one of the only links you can make under Stalio because it's a fire attribute, so keep that in mind. Boral Sword to kill your opponent. We're also playing Ningirsu because it's a removal card of that doesn't target. That's the biggest thing. Dealing with non-targetable cards is really hard in this deck, so we wanted to be able to have a card that you can make that can out those types of cards. And then the last 2 monsters are Transcode Talker and Update Jammer. This is a OTK that the deck facilitates. When you make Update Jammer with any 2 level 2 or higher Salamangreat, not Salamangreat, but Cyberse monsters, and then you can use any other Salamangreat and Update Jammer to make Transcode. Transcode's effect will bring back the Update Jammer and co-link it underneath of it, and it'll give each card a 500 boost, and then Transcode Talker to attack twice. So these comes out at 25, and this will come out at 28. You attack twice, that's 8,300 points of damage. Or sorry, that's 8,200 points of damage. No, I had it right the first. It's over 8,000, that's all you need to know. But that is my Salamangreat deck profile for you guys. Always remember to like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to check out my buddy's channel, and we'll have more matches and more deck profiles coming for you soon. Peace.